I was born in Pakistan, and when we came here, many people thought I was Pakistani
She looks like one.
because my color was a little fair, and so anyway. So when I came here, I was pregnant, 3 months or something, but I didn't show that much. So we came here, and my brother, who was here before me, and he came to pick us up. And when we drove from the airport, when we drove over the bridge.
Oh, Oak Street. Yeah.
What bridge was?
Oak Street.
Oak Street Bridge. I just looked around. It was so beautiful with the lights and the reflection of the lights falling into the water when we were going over the bridge, and I thought, oh my God, this is a heaven. It's like a heaven. I was so happy. Then I had an aunt, my mother's sister. She lived in Victoria. Her husband came to Victoria in 1905 or something like that. And his father, my uncle's father, came in 1901. And so they had been here a long time ago. So my aunt applied for us. So we came to, my husband and I, we both came. And everything looked so different here outside, how the people behaved, how the people, and my aunt, she said, let's go to Gurdwara because you came here, let's pray for your good luck here. So we went to the Gurdwara, and over there, ladies were sitting there. They all had blankets on their legs. You remember that?
Covered. No, she wouldn't know.
So because they all used long dresses, but no pants, and the other young people wore skirts, and so because in the Gurdwara they didn't want their naked legs, so they all covered themselves with the long blankets. I don't know where they got. They started from one end of the wall to the other, and they were very long. So everything looked so different. Even the old elderly ladies were wearing long dresses, and they looked like funny dresses, but they thought it was in fashion something. According to the fashion, they were wearing those, but we were from India, so we wore salwar and kameez and chunni and all that. While we were in Victoria, I went to the Department of Education to see what is available for me. So over there, the secretary told me to wait, and the director,
Evan.
Mr. Evans, huh?
Yeah, Mr. Evans.
Would be soon here to see you and talk to you. I said, sure. So I sat there, and then there was a guy coming from in the hallway, and I said, oh, this is his secretary or servant to call me to go to the office. And in India we have PNs, chaprasis for the bosses and all that. So I didn't know that it was a different world here. So I followed him. So over there he said, may I have I had a little jacket on. Good. So he took my jacket, I put it on the hanger, and then he told me to sit down. I sat down, and he sat across from me. I thought another officer would come, but he was the way. He said, tell me all about yourself. I thought, oh, then I realized. So anyway, so he asked me a question. He said, tell me about your trip. So I spoke, but he wanted to know how much English I could speak. That was the purpose. Anyway, so I spoke well, and he asked me so many questions. And then he said, listen, we give you
Interim teaching certificate.
teaching certificate, permission. So what it would do, it gives you help, and you watch how the students behave, how we do teaching here. And I said, sure. So I got this paper I brought home. So I got a substitute
Kaur as a substitute teacher.
call from us. This is a higher secondary school in Squamish in
Esquimalt.
in Victoria. So I went there. Oh, I think the first day I went with the sari on to substitute, and all the kids were looking at me, and I thought, it looks like I'm funny, you know. How do I? And there wasn't any Indian boy student in the class. So anyway,
Talking 63.
I went the next day. So I got straightened with my clothes and all that. Went to school the other day. There was a student. I asked him, "What's your name?" He said, "Taru-chan." He was an Indian boy. And then I said, "Pardon, what's your name again?" "Taru-chan." Again he said, "Taru-chan." And so anyway, so I didn't understand, didn't get the name. It didn't sound like an English name. It didn't sound like an Indian name. So I thought, what kind of name is it? So I sat in my chair and I read it in my mouth, said it again and again. Tarlochan, Tarlochan, Tarlochan. His name was Tarlochan. Oh boy, but he had English, Canadian accent. So finally, there was a lot to learn in vocabulary and things like that. But this is how I started teaching. And then finally I got a job in
Houston,
Houston,
near Prince George.
near Prince George. And it was September when I went there. Classes start in September. My I had given birth to twins. So I took the twins with me.
3 of them.
And then my older daughter, who was 3.5 years old. So anyway, over there I didn't stay there for too long. One thing, I got sick because I was not climatized. Because of the climate, I got very sick. And then I had to prepare for the lessons. And then I had to look after the kids. But then I didn't stay there for too long. So I had to quit my job. After that, everybody suggested you start teaching when the kids are about 4 or 5 years old. So I said, okay. So then we came to Victoria. My aunt was there. We were staying with her. So my aunt usually, off and on, would say, those days people who were coming from India, doesn't matter how educated they were, people over here did not have good opinion about them. I don't know why. But anyway, I noticed it, but I didn't say anything. And she said, nobody gives any jobs to the
Indian women.
Indian women here. So I was really, when they downgraded Indians, I would get upset, but I wouldn't say a word. What I did, I found a job at a
Motel.
Huh?
Motel.
As for the motel people, they would pay $1 an hour. And so a lady was picking me up from my aunt's house take me to there, and the kids they were good sleepers. So they would sleep. I know they would sleep for 2-3 hours, then they play with each other, although they were a few months old. So I went there and the lady picked me, so I had to give her the
Gas money.
I worked for 4 hours for $4, and out of 4,
$2.
I had to give $2 for the car ride. So anyway, this is how we passed the time. One day, when I was, so I got a job at a motel
Yeah.
to clean the rooms. So I said, okay, at least it's a job. So I didn't know how to clean those things. We never cleaned. But somebody told me how to do it. What happened on the second day, I cleaned one room and there was a couple there. They gave me $5 as a tip. And she said, here is a tip. But I said, I don't need it. Because in India we were giving tips to others. But here somebody was giving me a tip. So I said, I don't need it. So I left the money on the dresser and came out, and I was feeling very happy and great that I returned the money. So I told the other girls that this is what happened today. She said, why did you do that? You're stopping our tips. It's a $4, $5 doesn't pay. It's the tips that we were. I said, oh my God, what's a tip? So anyway, this is how I passed my beginning. Okay, when we were at UBC, at the house, we didn't have enough stuff. We didn't have a bed, but we were sleeping on the floor. A friend of ours, he came over one day, he said, oh my God, you're sleeping on the floor. He brought a sofa. Hide-a-bed sofa. He said, you can sleep on that. So finally, we got a bed from a second-hand store. We were very happy. But when we both slept on the bed would touch the floor. It was so old. But we were happy that we got a bed. But we didn't check, is it good or is it bad, because we were new here. So anyway, we bought some spoons from a second-hand store and a bed and I don't know what else. So we're there, but anyway, we slept in that hole in the bed. But so we had good sleep anyway. So over there, I had a little problem with my eye. So I thought, it's Canada and they have good doctors here, I should get it checked. So we got there, the doctor said, you need a cornea transplant. And I said, he told me, but I didn't know, I had no knowledge that in cornea transplant, just they started doing it, and the doctors didn't have much practice in it, but the cornea transplant didn't work. So anyway, I was at the hospital. One day, I heard a voice, Mommy, Mommy. And I felt that a child was pulling my bed sheet in the hospital. Mommy. And I said, oh my God, that's my daughter. I think something is wrong at the house and the babysitter is not looking after those twins. Oh, and then my husband came to see me in the evening. I said, what happened to Sheila? And he said, nothing, everybody's okay. He didn't want me to get worried. Oh my God. Then I found out that it was oil heater
in the house.
And the twins were starting to learn how to stand. So she held on to the heater and tried to stand up, but she burned her arm. That's when she called me, and I heard her voice in the hospital.
Anyway,
So anyway, we used to have these little tragedies with raising children when you are new is not that easy. But we managed. I think God helped us. My aunt and her husband and children, they helped us. So when we were then we moved to Vancouver. Let's go jump from there. We didn't have a house yet. And we stayed at Dr. Pandya's place. You remember Dr. Pandya?
no, she would.
He was the
He
first
was the
lawyer
first
here.
little lawyer in Vancouver.
First lawyer here from India. He did his law from England and then he settled here. He had a Canadian wife, so who welcomed us, and we stayed there for a few days, for a week I think. Then we moved, we bought a house. The house was really good and it was 5 minutes walk from the university. That's what we wanted because I wanted to go back to university, take courses, get to know the education system. And so we bought a house, and that time the houses were, I think, very cheap. I think it was 19,000.
Would you believe? I'll interrupt you here. That was our first house we bought. It was $19,200, brand new house, across the street from university. And I didn't have any money, as I said, that I had $6 when I went to Victoria. But that time the government would give you $1,000 to the first new home buyer. And I had, so that was $1,000 we made as the down payment. Since I was working for the provincial government, the banks didn't bother. They wrote me a mortgage for it. And now you can't buy even full tank of gas for $100.
So we bought that house, and it was in an area where Indians were not allowed to buy a house. I think we were the first one. We just dared to buy it. I said, we'll see what happens.
Nobody said anything.
So we got the house, a beautiful house, only a couple of months old. And my Sheila, one of the twins, she loved playing with football. In the apartment we had a football, but when we moved into the house, I put the name on that is our, because the neighbor's children had it too. And Sheila thought we left the football in the apartment. So she held her brother's hand. She was, I think they were about 3 years old. No talking either. But anyway, they started walking
Trying to find the ball.
to the apartment, which was few miles away. And then I couldn't find my twins. I said, where did they go? Where are they? So I was just crying. The neighbor's lady came. She took me in her car. We went all around in the area, in that community. And then it came to my head, because we were not allowed to buy a house here, so probably somebody took my kids away and maybe they killed them or something. So she went and she checked all the puddles and everything. But then we found the police. The police, they found the children. They were about half a mile away from the house, walking hand in hand. And then the police got them, brought them home, and they were getting mad at them, so the kids got scared. So he said, where were you going? And Sheila said, football, my football. And so anyway, that's how my first experience was. So from there Victoria, we moved to Chilliwack. Yeah, Jack said that we have to go to Chilliwack. But I have a habit of where I am, I like to stay there. No moving around. I'm not the moving person. But he said it's good. They came and they asked me to join them. And it's a very nice little place. And the land was $1,000 an acre. But who had $1,000 those days? Nobody. So we went to Chilliwack, and Chilliwack was we bought a house there, and that also, I think by that time the prices had gone a little bit up. I think it was $35,000.
No, it's in the 24,000.
24,000. Because those people were selling it.
It was the best by the river. Beautiful.
So, by the river, beautiful word, beautiful. Everything was so good. But the people were in a rush to sell the house because their son was sick. They wanted to be in Vancouver, not come from Chilliwack to Vancouver every day. So we enjoyed the house there. And then I wanted to learn how to ride a bike. Because there was a river by the riverside, but I learned how to ride a bike, but unfortunately not sitting on the seat, sitting on the back.
Carrier side.
So I said, I quit it. I said, never learned how to ride a bike. So over there I started substituting. There was another place called, another place not too far from, was a higher secondary school. I enjoyed that. A few days I taught there. Then I taught in Chilliwack. Same, I did there for 6 months as a relief teacher. But again, people were still having the same mentality. Not good with Indian people. That's what I noticed. One day I was sent to a school. It was called Central School. Wasn't too far from our house. Over there, there were a history lesson there to show the students some videos, not videos, videos, but they were on 16 millimeter tape.
Projector.
I don't know what they call.
Film. We were going to show you.
It was like a film. You know, you go to see a film and they show the huge things. So the principal said, if you don't understand how to put it on, actually the kids would help you and you can show them. I said, okay. So we did it, and then at the end you had to rewind the tape. So for the next people it's ready. So very excitingly, at the end of the class, I told the principal, he said, oh, did you put the movie back? I said, oh, yes, I did it. Did you get some help? I said, in the beginning, but I didn't need any help after. And he said, sure you didn't. And the way he said, sure you didn't, I was so upset. I cried. But I didn't want to tell anybody that this, to me it was insulting the way he said. And so anyway, I managed somehow. I was learning the Canadian culture and people, and how people behave and how.
In Chilliwack, she was president of the Toastmasters Club.
Yeah.
She won the best speakers award and all that.
Yeah.
You did
Because he was one day he was a president of men's
Toastmasters Club.
I was the ladies, so we were both meeting. And I didn't know, I never said my husband's name before, and I didn't know how to address him to introduce to people. It was a very tough for me, but gradually I learned how to say Jag. I still don't call him by his name. And from there, I think we stayed there
4 years.
Anyway, so we left Chilliwack, and then we went to Delta.
Yes.
So Delta, we wanted to buy a house too. So there were brand new houses built in Ladner. So we went to see Ladner. It was a summer. It was very hot. And I said, because it was a new development, there were not many trees grown yet. And to me it was very hard. I said, oh, I don't like it. I don't want to stay here. And so somebody told us to go to Tuasan. So we went to Tuasan, we drove through. It was so beautiful. So the weather was so good, windy and green trees. So we didn't buy that house. So then we went through the town, city, whatever. It was small, very small city. So we got a house. I think that was $55,000 that time. And there was a beautiful house, huge lot, and upstairs, downstairs. So that's when my kids started studying at universities. Then we moved to Vancouver. So that when we moved to Vancouver, we had a little bad luck. We put a share with someone in the properties he was buying, but we made a big mistake. We lost everything in there. We still had the house in Victoria. We still had the house in Tuasan. And we also had bought another property in Vancouver. We lost everything.
It's okay.
And then we moved into a rented house in Vancouver. Rent was $1,300 that time, but it was a house. And right on
41st and
41st.
Grand.
So after that, gradually, we started
God is great, really.
getting better days, and we traveled a lot. Jack was getting these castle works in different countries, and I traveled with him. First time he got a call was from Guyana. And I said, I don't want to go to Guyana. That's a very scary place. You know where it happened? Remember there was an accident? People...
what was Jones? Jim
Yeah.
Jones?
And he had gone to India because it was his brother's wedding to get some stuff there. And I was home and the newspaper came. It was all covered. I was so terrified. And oh my God, how do people live there where the killers are? So I said, I don't want to go there. But anyway, he said that place, Jonestown, that guy had established a town, huge place, many rooms. And but it was very scary. So he said, it's not like that. So anyway, we went to Guyana. First day when we Guyana, they took us to where we were staying in a hotel. there was a lot of sand in front of the hotel. We passed through that and go up the stair. My shoes were all filled with the sand. And it's okay, I'll go in and have a nice bath. So we went there, we had a suite. They said, this is a bridal suite. I said, oh, good. So we went to the bridal suite. First one floor, then second floor, then another floor. I said, too many floors, but it's okay. The washroom was on the first floor. The sitting room was on the second floor. And the sleeping room was on the top floor. Where is the bridal place? And it was, okay, and anyway, my feet were sandy, so I had to take a bath. So I wanted to take a bath. There was no water. The tap, there was no water. So I said, okay, no water. So she brought me a bucket of water.
No. Let me finish.
Let's finish soon.
Okay.
So I said, she brought me some water and...
I brought you water.
Okay. And the water wasn't that good to take a bath. I didn't take it. So anyway, we had, and in the living room, second floor, there was supposed to be a TV. But there was no TV. Space was there, but no TV. Where's the TV? Oh, it's gone for repairs. It'll be back in a day or so. Okay. Then we went upstairs. So what happened upstairs, we were so tired, we went to sleep. At around 2 o'clock, there was a huge noise, music coming, people dancing, and there was a lot of light outside. Because there was a hotel underneath our bedroom. They turned all that, because they used to have their program at that time. People were there. And I said, oh my God, I can't sleep. First thing, there was light. Secondly, there was a noise, and with people laughing. We really had tough time. So anyway, after 2 days, I think, our boss, the mayor, he came with some other people who were working for the castle. And I told my husband, I said, I want to change my room. I'm going to say to those. But he's always sort of a nice guy. Oh, don't say it. We can suffer. Doesn't matter. We have. I said, no, I'm not that type. I want to rest at least at night time. So I told the mayor, I said, this is what's going on. And they were staying at the guest house, which was a much better place.
It was just like a 4-star hotel.
And so I said, I want to stay. And I asked, do you have a place at the guest house? Because we don't want to stay here.
Sorry.